Very good morning, students. Today I'm going to focus on the gastroretentive drug delivery system, that is GRDDS. This is the content of my today's presentation, which consists of introduction, advantages, gastroretentive technologies, evaluation of GRDDS, and its disadvantages. When we talk regarding the gastroretentive drug delivery system, one should not going to forget the role of digestive system there in the GRDDS. Actually, the role of digestive system is to break down the complex molecule derived from the ingested food into simple ones for absorption into the blood or the lymph. This process occurs in 5 main phases within a defined region of the gastrointestinal system, that is ingestion from mouth, fragmentations there in the with the help of mouth and stomach, digestion there in the stomach and small intestine, then absorption there in the small and large intestine, and elimination of the waste product concerns with the large intestine. So basically the GRDDS, it is a conventional oral drug delivery system, that is DDS is a complicated by limited gastric residence time, that is GRT. The rapid GI transit can prevent the complete drug release in the absorption zone and reduce the efficacy of the administered dose, since the majority of the drugs are absorbed in the stomach or the upper part of the small intestine. This is actually the focused of the conventional drug delivery system as well as the GRDDS system, where in case of the conventional dosage form, when we talk regarding that which emphasize on the 3 main compartment, that is absorption window, which is more concerned with the bioavailability, that is your therapeutic effect, and if you could able to see here the dosage form, the 3 tablets are there. At lower part you will going to observe that negligible absorption of the drug release in the region preceding the window, but where in case of the GRDDS you could able to see that stomach, that is basic gastrointestinal tract physiology. So this anatomy, when we talk regarding the stomach, it is divided mainly into the 3 region. The first part, which is start from the as far as the stomach is concerned, so you will going to observe the esophagus. Once the esophagus is over, the main part of your stomach, which is comprises the 3 main parameter, that is fundus, body and antrum. That is nothing but your pylorus. It is a lower part of your stomach, you can say. So fundus, body and antrum, the proximal part made of the fundus and the body, which is acts as a reservoir for the undigested material here. If you could able to see, the dissolved drug is released continuously and absorbed through the absorption window here. So this is a absorption window in the B figure, where in the A figure the absorption window, it is in middle part. So whereas the antrum is the main site for the mixing motion and acts as a pump for the gastric emptying by propelling action. Okay, so when we talk regarding the transit time now, so the organ which having their own transit time, you can say. So stomach, which having the transit time, it is really less than 1 if the patient is in fasting condition, but if the transit time, if it is in the fed condition, if you could see, then the transit time, it is it may be more than 3 even, that is in R. Okay, small intestine, the gastric transit time in R related with the small intestine is 3 to 4, where in case of the large intestine, if you could able to see the structure here in the B, so the transit time there in the large intestine, it is around 20 to 30, you can say, in R. Okay, so the pH environment in the different parts, you can say that stomach, which having the pH around 1.5 to 3.5, which is obviously a acidic one. Duodenum, it is around neutral, you can say. I mean to say that the pH related with the duodenum is I think so 5 to 7, and jejunum 6 to 7. Ileum, obviously, the maximum absorption which can be takes place from this ileum, which is a lower part of your intestine, small intestine rather, that is which having the pH 6 to 7.5. Then colon, which is a large intestine, where you could maintain the pH at 5.5 to 7, and rectum, obviously it is a basic one, that is 7. So to overcome these limitations, various approaches have been proposed to increase the gastric residence of the drug delivery system in the upper part of GIT. Includes gastroretentive drug delivery system, that is GRDDS. Among the GRDDS floating drug delivery system, the FDDS, that is, have been the most commonly used. Gastroretentive delivery is one of the you can say is one of the site specific delivery of the drug at stomach. It is obtained by the retaining the dosage form into the stomach, and drug is being released at sustained manner to specific site either in stomach or intestine. Here we had seen just now the same diagram before, that is it is actually the difference there in the conventional release of your dosage as well as your GRDDS with respect to your absorption window. Okay, so here the advantages related with the GRDDS are delivery of the drug with narrow absorption window in the small intestine region. Then longer residence time in the stomach could be advantageous for the local action in the stomach, for example treatment of the peptic ulcer disease. Then bioavailability can be improved. Next is it can reduce the frequency of dosing with improved patient compliance, then minimize the fluctuation of drug concentration, then site specific drug delivery, then enhances the pharmacological effect. So these are nothing but the few advantages related with the GRDDS. The very most parameter, that is next one is, that is your candidates for the GRDDS, which is totally depend upon the different types of the factors. Okay, but the candidates, that is your drug for the GRDDS, the selection, it is like that: a drug acting locally in the stomach, example antacid; drugs that are principally absorbed in the stomach; the drugs that are poorly soluble at the alkaline pH; then drugs with a narrow window of absorption, that is furosemide is the best example. So we'll have to select that drug which having the narrow window of absorption, and obviously it must be insoluble there in the alkaline pH. Then the drug absorbed radially from the GI tract and not anywhere else. The drugs that degrades in the colon, then drugs with the variable bioavailability, then drugs with the less half-life. Okay, so if your drug possesses that kind of pharmacokinetic and dynamic parameters, then we can go through the selection of these right candidature for the fabrication of the GRDDS. GRDDS techniques, which mainly are of two type, that is non-effervescent system and effervescent system. That effervescent system having the four subclasses, that is which is based on the density, that is low density system, that is your floating drug delivery. If your effervescent system, if it is swellable, then it is your expandable system, then mucoadhesive system, and high density system. First, one by one we'll discuss the floating system, which is based upon the low density approach. That is it has the bulk density lower than that of gastric fluid, and hence the remains beyond, that is floating one, that is buoyancy in stomach for the longer time. A floating dosage unit is usually useful for the drugs which acting locally in the proximal nearer to the GI tract. Okay, so these systems are also useful for the drugs which are properly soluble or unstable in the intestinal fluid. So the floating properties of the system helps in the retention in the stomach for the longer time, and during this time period the drug is released from the system. After the release of drug, the remnants, that is remaining portions of the system is emptied from the stomach, and the lasting intragastric buoyancy of a controlled release form might also be provide a suitable manner to constantly deliver a drug locally into the stomach, and you can say hence it may achieve a sustained site specific therapeutic action. However, some drawback like gastric emptying of the floating system in this supine subjects may occur at random and becomes highly dependent on the diametral size. So therefore the patients cannot be dosed with the floating system just before going on to the bed. So additionally, hydrodynamically balanced system, that is HBS capsule being a floating homogeneous matrix formulation, the drug release rate cannot be realized without changing the floating properties of the dosage form, and vice versa. So these are the some advantages related with your floating systems. The drug, those are primarily absorbed in the stomach, then poorly soluble at alkaline pH, then narrow window of absorption, degrade into the colon, and when there is a vigorous intestinal movement and a short transit time, as might occur in a certain type of the diarrhea, poor absorption is expected. So under such circumstances, it may be advantageous to keep the drug in floating condition in stomach to get a relatively better response. These are the few disadvantages related with the low density approach, that is of floating system, so which is not feasible for those drugs that have solubility or stability problem in the GIT. So that kind of the drug we should not going to choose for the fabrication of the GRDDS. Okay, require the high level of fluid in the stomach. If the drug which require the high level of fluid, it should not be fabricated as GRDDS. The drugs that may irritate the stomach lining or are unstable in acidic environment, so that drug cannot going to be selected for the candidate as a choice. The dosage form should be administered with a full glass of water, 200 to 250 ml. Then next one is your swellable system. One way to retain a dosage form in the stomach is by increasing its size. The stomach discharge its constituents through the pylorus into the intestines, where you could able to see in the diagram. Thus, if a dosage form can attain a size larger than that of the pylorus, it can be retained in the stomach for a longer time. So it is not possible to swallow a dosage form of such a larger size. So thus it should attain this larger size only after reaching the stomach. So this large size should be achieved fairly quickly, felling which the dosage form is emptied through the pylorus. So in addition, this is the enlarged dosage form should not block the pylorus. Such a dosage form should also be strong enough to be able to withstand the powerful waves from the stomach. So this system may be named as plug type system, where you could able to see there in the diagram the nature of the drug after getting absorbed or retaining there in the stomach. It could change its feature as physically. So as it may exhibit the tendency to remain lodged at the pyloric sphincters. The extensive swelling of these polymers is due to the presence of physical or chemical cross-links in the hydrophilic polymer network. Such a cross-linking which prevents the dissolution of the polymer and hence maintain the physical integrity of the dosage form. Next, this is the picture of the tablet which may dry and in the wetted state. A balance between the extent and the duration swelling is maintained here by the degree of cross-linking of the polymer. This is the disadvantages of swelling system, that is the dosage form must maintain a size larger than the pyloric sphincter. Then dosage form must resist the premature gastric emptying. So these are the few disadvantages related with the swelling system. Next is your bio or mucoadhesive system. Mucoadhesion is a pharmaceutically important novel solution to solve the bioavailability problem that results from a too short length of the stay of dosage form at the absorption site within the GI tract. So biomucoadhesive system are those which bind to the gastric epithelial cell surface. If you could able to see there in the diagram, here the mucoadhesive system are those which bind to the gastric epithelial cell or mucin and thus extend the gastroretentive time in the stomach. So these provide a means of promoting the residence time of a dosage form as well as improving the intimacy, you can say, of the contact with various absorptive membranes of the biological system. So besides acting as the platforms for the sustained release dosage form, bioadhesive polymers can themselves exert some control over the rate and amount of the drug release, and thus it facilitate the therapeutic advantage of such system. So stability problems in the intestinal fluid can also be overcome here. Therapeutic effects, you can say, of the drug insoluble in the intestinal fluids can be improved, especially in the case of drug acting locally. The concept is based on the self-protecting mechanism of GI tract, and the various mucoadhesive polymers with molecular flexibility, then hydrophilic functional group, specific molecular weight, chain length and conformational are used for the drug delivery purposes. So I have cited some example here which is used as a mucoadhesive polymer, that is chitosan, polyacrylic acid, carbapol 934P, 971P, then 980. These are the different grades of the carbapol which are available. Then you can use the sodium alginate as well. Then HPMC having the different grades, that is K4M, K15M, then K100M you can use. You can also use the HPC, that is hydroxypropyl cellulose, and cholestyramine. Okay, so these are the problems of the mucoadhesive system. So the physical interaction of the polymers with mucus of GI tract may occur through the various mechanisms. So the various mechanisms which may be include hydration, you can say the bonding, and receptor mediated. So the problem occurred related with this mucoadhesive system, rapid removal of mucus, where we are not sure whether the DF will adhere to the mucus or epithelial cell layer, and DF may adhere to the esophagus, resulting in the drug induced injuries. These are the high density approach you can use here. So with the help of the system with a density of about 3 gram per centimeter cube inverse, which are retained in the range of stomach and are capable of withstanding its peristaltic moment. There is a threshold density limit, that is 2.6 to 2.8 gram per centimeter cube is to be retain a system in lower part of the stomach. So various materials such as zinc oxide, titanium oxide, dioxide derivative, then iron powder, etc. are used to manufacture such a high density formulation. So the diluents such as barium sulfate, which having the density 4.9, you can use. I told you just now that zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, iron powder, which must be used to manufacture such a high density formulation. I have listed some problem related with the high density approaches. The very first problem is related with the high density approach is higher amount of drug required. So it's very difficult actually, because when we procure the drug, it's very difficult to demand for the large quantity of the drug API that is from the industry. So higher amount of drug which is required. So this is very difficult to go for these bulk formation of these GRDDS through high density approach. Then the second problem related with the high density approach is the dosage form must stand with peristaltic movement of the stomach. So these are the few problems I have cited here to gain the knowledge more about the GRDDS. These are the different types of the evaluation of GRDDS tablet. That is, you may go for the drug content, hardness of tablet, friability of tablet, diameter, then weight variation. So for the formulation, basically before going to directly touch upon this parameter, one should know what actually the different types of approaches for the GRDDS. Apart from that, the dissolution study, where you could able to see there in the diagram that here the USP type 2, that is paddle method, is gonna used for the dissolution study to determine the cumulative drug release. So dissolution medium, that is 0.1 SCl, that is which having the pH 1.2. Obviously it is there in your stomach. These media it's gonna use for the determination of this release, where you will have to control the thermostat at 37 to plus minus 0.5 degrees Celsius, and will have to where you have to maintain the RPM of that paddle around 50 to 100 resolution per minute. And the sample when one can just going to withdraw the sample from these dissolution apparatus, will have to expose it for the UV for the determination of the drug content and absorption meanwhile. Apart from that, the evaluation, the in vitro mucoadhesion, if your drug molecule, if it is your mucoadhesive, then in vitro mucoadhesion can be takes place with the help of USP type 6, that is your rotating cylindrical USP method you can rely upon, wherein the medium as well as the temperature will have to opt for the same as previous, and the difference there in the RPM will have to maintain at 100 RPM. Next is your lag time. It is your measurement. For that purpose you will have to you have to go for the measurement of your medium, measurement of your drug release by means of your dissolution medium, which is your pH 1 acidic buffer pH 1.2, that is 0.1 SCl, and temperature will have to maintain at 37 degrees Celsius plus minus 0.5. The apparatus here, we can go for the selection for the type 2 dissolution apparatus. A tablet is placed in a beaker which containing the 100 or 200 ml of dissolution medium, and the time for a tablet to emerge onto the surface of dissolution medium is known as the lag time. So with this fashion one can determine the lag time here. Next is your floating time. Floating time, after achieving the lag time, the time taken for a tablet to remain float on the surface of the dissolution medium is called as your floating time. So it can be determined only after the lag time has determined. Then water uptake, for that purpose the apparatus required is your USP type dissolution apparatus. The medium you have to take the distilled water, then temperature have to maintain at 37 degrees Celsius plus minus 0.5 degrees Celsius, and RPM wherein you have to maintain at 50 resolution per minute. There is one formula to calculate your water uptake. That water uptake percent water uptake is equal to the weight of Solan tablet minus initial weight of tablet divided by initial weight of tablet into the 100. So with this passion you can go for the determination of the water uptake here. Next is your in vitro mucoadhesive strength, where you could able to determine the mucoadhesive strength of your dosage form. If you could able to see here, there is a depiction there in the figure that A, B, C, D, E, that where A is your upper glass plate, B is your lower glass plate, then C is your pulley, then D is your thread, and E is your pan. So with this passion you will have to determine the strength, mucoadhesive strength rather, of your tablet, wherein the different types of the factor which can be affect for the mechanism. That is, first one is your physical form of dosage form, then size and shape of dosage form, then density of your dosage form, then formulation different parameter, then volume of liquid, then viscosity, volume and caloric content of the melt. So these factors which include the different parts by which the results which may be differ. The limitation of GRDDS, which include it is not recommended for the drugs which are unstable at gastric or acidic pH, then insoluble or very low soluble drugs, and the drugs which cause the gastric irritation. So this is one limitation. Then second one is, for floating, the high level of fluid is required in GIT. Also, sleeping condition is favorable for the better result of GRDDS. Next is your bioadhesive system. In case of bioadhesive system which cannot going to prevail longer due to the higher turnover rate of mucus layer and presence of soluble mucin. The next one is your for swelling system. It is necessary that the formulation should not exceed before the appropriate swelling. And the last limitation for this GRDDS is for high density system, high amount of drug is required. So these are nothing but the few limitations I have cited here, where one has to just think wisely upon the fabrication of just these GRDDS. So before going to fabricate, we must think wisely upon the selection criteria, or you can say the candidate suitably for the fabrication of your gastroretentive drug delivery system. So not only this, but also there are the different types of applications are related with the GRDDS. We'll going to discuss in short. So this is the limitation. Then I am just going to conclude my session here, as the gastric emptying of your dosage forms is an extremely variable process, and ability to prolong and control the emptying time is a valuable aspect for the dosage form, which reside in the stomach for longer period of time, which compared with the conventional dosage form. Several difficulties are faced in designing the control release system for better absorption and enhance bioavailability. One of such difficulties is the inability to confine the dosage form in the desired area of the GI tract, wherein the drug absorption from the GI tract is a complex procedure and is subjected to several variables, you can say. The controlled drug delivery system possessing the ability of being retained in the stomach, this is the prime objective of this GRDDS, and when the drug is gonna retain in this passion, then that drug delivery system is called as gastroretentive drug delivery system, which can be help in optimizing the oral controlled drug delivery of the drugs, which having the absorption window by continuously releasing the drug prior to the absorption window for prolonged period of time, which ensuing the optimal bioavailability. So as far as the conclusion aspect is concerned, we'll have to just make sure that improved safety profile of the drugs with side effects associated with the high Cmax. So that kind of only the few you can say the tricks we'll have to keep in our mind while formulation of these gastroretentive drug delivery system. In next presentation, we're going to try to cover up the majorly the what you can say the colon targeted drug delivery system, or you can say the liposomes even. Okay, so thank you so much for the